Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. The big breaking news today is that Alexis Mac Allister and Liverpool have reached full agreement for the player going forward. We are just now waiting the formalities of signing a transfer deal, the medical, the confirmation, everything along those lines before this is a done deal essentially. It's already a done deal, but this is signed, sealed, and delivered. Alexis Mac Allister seemingly will be a Liverpool player going forward. And I, for one, am very happy with this news broken by Fabrizio Romano earlier on today in regards to this. I'm sure you have lots of thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it. So do get involved in the comment section. Give me your thoughts on what you think about this big breaking news story that Liverpool have reached full agreement with Alexis Mac Allister in regards to him signing for the Reds this season, this summer. Also remember to smash a like on the video, on the live stream, and also subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. But of course, we're here to talk about Alexis Mac Allister. We're here to talk about Liverpool and everything else in between. Like I say, this news was broken by one Fabrizio Romano, the man in the know, at around about 11 o'clock today. He took to Twitter to say, Alexis Mac Allister to Liverpool, here we go. So it has been here we go. This is pretty much done and dusted. Whenever he says here we go, that pretty much means it is over the line and done with. Full agreement completed on the contract. Understand it will be valid until June 2028. 5-year deal. Liverpool will pay the buyout clause in the next few days, way less than the reported £60 million fee. So it's gone down from 80 million to 60 million to now reportedly even less, according to Romano. Medical tests in 24 to 48 hours. Done. Now, exciting, incredible. Liverpool, like I say, we're looking to get their transfer business done as quickly as possible this summer, as do a lot of clubs. It's not exactly like a new thing, but at the same time, it makes sense to get it done and dusted pretty much as early as possible. Mac Allister himself was reportedly wanting to obviously get this deal done and dusted as well as quickly as possible, and that obviously seems to have occurred. Liverpool have moved quickly on this. Mac Allister himself wanted that quick move as well, and of course, it makes sense. Like I say, we knew Liverpool were going after midfielders, and that seemingly is the case right now. And this is a very good start, in my opinion, of a player that I've admired these past couple of years that he's burst onto the scene with Brighton. Obviously, he signed for the Seagulls in 2019. He's had a few loan spells before making, obviously, his appearance in the Premier League. And he's really taken to it. Like I say, these past couple of years, he's really grown as a player. He's got better. And he's just another example of the incredible recruitment and the incredible level of depth that Brighton go to when they search for these players. And whilst I've said it before, I'll say it again, it's not ideal that Brighton are going to be losing a top player like Mac Allister. It's not ideal that they're going to be losing a key player in that midfield. And let's face it, their squad looks to be ripped apart again by other clubs, with obviously the news today of Chelsea pulling out of the Manuel Ugarte deal. That means that they're going to probably be turning their attention to Moises Caicedo. It looks like Brighton are going to have their squad kind of dismantled yet again. And it's going to be interesting to see how far and how well they can obviously recuperate or recover from having their squad ripped apart continuously. It seems to be something that is not necessarily going to continue to work or has long sustainability to it. But at the same time, Brighton have done brilliantly well in the past. It'll be interesting to see if they can continue to obviously recover from that point forward. Liverpool signing Mac Allister, like I say, it makes perfect sense. The kind of player that Mac Allister is, the kind of energy that he brings to a squad, the kind of fresh face he's going to bring to that Liverpool midfield, it makes sense. He's a player that, like I say, I've admired for these past couple of years in terms of what he brings to that Brighton side. He's versatile. Regardless of the kind of midfield role that you want to put him in, he is versatile. He can play slightly more defensive, maybe not long-term sustainability there, but he can obviously fill in a hole if needed. As far as like being the number 8 goes, he's box to box. He can ball win. He's good with the ball at his feet. Got good technical ability. He's industrious. Works very hard. Runs from deep. Can score goals. And is good from set pieces as well. He's a very good all-round midfielder, in my opinion. And I think that he obviously can fill in the type of scenario needed for Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp going forward, depending on obviously the game, depending on the scenario at hand, depending on obviously what is presented in front of Liverpool for right then and there. I feel like he can be a guy that going forward can score goals, going forward can link up play, can link up very well with the likes of Luis Diaz, can link up with the likes of Mo Salah. He likes these little kind of diagonal passes over the top of defenses. So if obviously springing counter-attack obviously applies, Mac Allister is a very good playmaker to have in that regard. And you've seen it time and time again with Brighton. He is just the kind of link-up guy. He's good with linking up play. He's good with bringing others into play. And he's got good creative vision as well as good technical ability with the ball at his feet. Good ball carrier, good passer of the ball. Like I say, can strike a good shot as well. Good from set pieces. Doesn't mind having a pop at goal every so often, every now and again. The guy is a solid all-round midfielder and someone that obviously Liverpool have admired and have wanted for some time, as evident by the way that we've obviously gone about trying to sign him for a while now. It's been heavily rumoured and obviously the speculation and everything's began to snowball. But of course, today is the news that we've been waiting for. It was rumoured to be that this week would be the week that Liverpool made substantial kind of headway in signing him and that he could actually be a Liverpool player by the end of the week. Obviously, we've all woken up on this Monday morning to the news that could very well be the case and that could very well be that going forward. Romano did follow up his tweet, which was very interesting. He did follow it up with after Alexis Mac Allister with medical booked this week. Liverpool will focus on more targets to rebuild the midfield. Conversations took place with agents of Manu Kone. We talked about Manu Kone last week. Obviously, we know that Liverpool very much interested in him. And Kefren Turam could be very intriguing as well. Gabri Vega appreciated, but no bid or talks advancing yet, step by step. And yes, let's face it, let's focus on one midfielder at a time here. Alexis Mac Allister is a brilliant start to obviously re-energizing and resurrecting a midfield that has been our sort of, I guess you say, main Achilles heel for a large part of this past season gone by. We know that we needed to regenerate it. We know that we needed to rebuild it again because it has been needed to for a while. We've been obviously thwarted this season a lot by our midfield because obviously the baseline of Klopp's philosophy, the baseline of the way that Klopp wants to the play, the whole foundation of that obviously starts and begins with the midfield. If the midfield isn't working, the whole system collapses. And that's what we've seen time and time again this past season, is that when the midfield doesn't work, Liverpool don't tend to play great. That's the baseline of it. And that's what we've seen, like I say, time and time again. It obviously changed a little bit when we switched formation. And it's going to be interesting to see how Mac Allister fits in with this new formation, if that's going to be the formation that we're going to play in going forward. Obviously, with Trent more inverted, obviously with the kind of extra man in midfield, so to speak, the kind of three at the back role. That's going to be interesting to see how Liverpool address that going forward, if there's going to be another kind of defensive incoming this summer. But it's going to be very intriguing to find out how Liverpool conduct their business going forward like that. But I'm very excited by this. I'm very intrigued and very excited by this deal. Very excited to see how Mac Allister will work in this Liverpool setup. Obviously, he's had a fantastic season with Brighton. He's helped them get into the Europa League with his international side of Argentina. He's, of course, becoming a World Cup winner. So he's had a phenomenal season, whether it be for his club or for his country. He's made 35 appearances this season for Brighton, scoring 10 goals and 2 assists. He's made 112 appearances for Brighton overall in his career, scoring 20 goals and recording 9 assists. He's 24 years of age, so we've still got a little bit of time before he enters his prime years. So there's still time for him to still be grown, molded, and evolved in this Liverpool setup. And I think that he will obviously grow and evolve even more so with having, with all due respect to De Zerbi, a better manager, with playing under a better manager, with all due respect to De Zerbi, with better players around him, with all due respect to Brighton. And yeah, I'm very interested and very excited to see him link up with the likes of Luis Diaz, Mohamed Salah, Cody Gakpo, Trent Alexander-Arnold, all of them kind of players, because there's a lot of creativity, there's a lot of flair, there's a lot of technical ability there with all of those players. And I, for one, like I say, cannot wait to see how he's going to link up play with them, how he's going to continue to grow and evolve as a player, and just how he's going to resurrect this midfield. Like that's the whole baseline of this, is him coming in to resurrect this midfield. Now, he's not obviously going to do it on his own. We already know that Liverpool are looking at other targets as well. We've already heard plenty of rumours and things in regards to Liverpool looking at other targets. So he's not going to be doing this all on his own, but this is a very good start and a very good building block to begin with in regards to Liverpool resurrecting their midfield. This guy coming in offers a bit more of an attacking intent, a bit more of a creative intent, something that is a little bit different to the midfielders that we have right now at our disposal. I'd say they're more industrious, they're more box to box, or more slightly more defensive, shall we say. We've kind of lost our main attacking ones, I guess you'd say, out of maybe by default, or maybe they're like Naby Keita, for example, who probably is more of the attack-minded midfielder that we did have. Obviously, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, you could argue, maybe a bit more attacking as well in certain cases. But you look at the ones that we have right now, Thiago, more playmaker, more of a deep line playmaker, I guess you'd say. Fabinho, obviously, more defensive. Bajcetic, more defensive. Henderson, more box to box. This guy represents a more attacking intent, like I say. He's very versatile, and I think obviously that is going to be what has attracted Jurgen Klopp to him as well. And I think obviously he, like I say, he can fill in wherever he's needed in that kind of role. So I think that this is going to be a very, very good addition to this Liverpool squad. I appreciate the viewership, no matter how small or how large. So I appreciate you being here and I'm watching the content. I'm interested to know if you have any thoughts or comments on Alexis Mac Allister, but thank you very much for even just taking the time out just to view, no matter how short or how long it is. So appreciate it. In terms of like where Liverpool go from here, like I say, there seems to be more midfielders that are being discussed. Romano's already talked about more midfield options likely to come in this summer. It definitely needs to be looked at, and it's going to be definitely intriguing to see if those midfielders are going to be the ones that originally Liverpool were going to be after, or whether they're going to be ones that Liverpool have sort of adapted to because of this new system that they're playing. I support Liverpool, mate. I support Liverpool. So I'm obviously very happy by this by this signing. Obviously, it's not done and dusted yet because we still got to go through the formalities of medical and then official confirmation. But it does seem that this is going to take place and this is going to be done and dusted. Presumably, by the end of the week, Liverpool are going to try and wrap this up very, very quickly, it seems. And, you know, rightfully so, ahead of pre-season and everything else that's going to go along with that. So we can obviously have time to bed in with the new squad and hopefully take to it. But a sort of Premier League proven midfielder, I guess you'd say, is going to be arriving at Liverpool. He's not going to have the kind of gamble behind him of betting into a new league. There is obviously a gamble with all transfers, but some are less riskier than others. This represents a bit more of a low risk, I guess you'd say, than than other transfers, there is the opportunity that this doesn't go well. And of course, for big money, that's always going to be a possibility. The deal can still be hijacked, so keep that in mind. And many clubs are still interested. Absolutely. Like, this isn't done and dusted by any stretch of the imagination. We know that. We talked about this before, where the likes of Manchester United, for example, were interested in him. I feel like with Man United, because of the takeover that's looming, because of the Mason Mount news as well, I don't see them going after both, which means that Liverpool have to wrap this up very, very quickly. But it is very positive that obviously the news has come out that Liverpool are seemingly moving quickly. Everything does seem to be going ahead as planned. And obviously the news that there is a full agreement in place. The personal terms are pretty much agreed. The fees agreed. So it's all looking very positive. The only thing that Liverpool, I think, have got to concern themselves with is the medical. And then, of course, official confirmation, just tying up all the loose ends. And again, even the medical isn't... Even the medical isn't exactly a foregone conclusion, because I remember a few years ago, Liverpool again involved, Nabil Fekir. Everything seemed to be done and dusted there. He was even in a Liverpool shirt, I think, giving his first interview, his kind of welcome to the club interview, that kind of thing. And then Liverpool performed a U-turn and said, actually, we're not too confident on you right now because we've spotted something in your medical. We're going to go in a different direction. So obviously nothing is ever done and dusted. There could be some late twists and turns, but it does seem very good as of right now, and it does seem very positive, the news that is coming out today in regards to Alexis Mac Allister going forward. The only club that could hijack is City, in my opinion. Yeah. Again, I think if you're given the choice of Liverpool and City, Liverpool obviously have the bigger history, bigger club in terms of that aspect. City obviously are the here and now, so to speak. Or playing under Pep Guardiola is probably a dream for most players. Whether or not they're going to hijack this, I'm not 100% sure. They've, of course, got Mateo Kovacic. That kind of deal is potentially on the horizon. They're trying to get Ilkay Gundogan to obviously sign a new deal. And let's face it, after his FA Cup heroics, man is clearly a very underrated midfielder. And I'm clearly interested to see where his future lies. But he could be off to Barcelona. So maybe that does leave a gap that maybe Kovacic is going to fill. So maybe they're not looking at Mac Allister as of right now, and maybe Pep sees better options elsewhere. I don't know. But like I say, Liverpool need to wrap this up very quickly and get this deal done and dusted as soon as possible, because there's a lot of rebuilding to be done. And then once you sign this one, you can then look at... they're always obviously going to be looking at other targets, but... It's going to be interesting to see where they go. What do you think about Man United transfer window and next season? It mainly depends on their transfer takeover. Their takeover. United, obviously, it's a bit awkward right now because we're about to enter the transfer window and we still have no real clear picture as to what the kind of takeover is occurring at Manchester United. If it's going to be Jim Ratcliffe and the Glazers together, there might be a little bit more money involved than what we've seen in previous years. I know that obviously United have spent a lot already in previous years, but there might be a bit more than what we've seen, even more so. If it's going to be the Qatari ownership, which would scare me as a rival fan and should scare a lot of rival fans as well, then that's going to be very intriguing, obviously, for United. But like I say, very much up in the air. For me, Harry Kane has to be a certainty. The goalkeeper situation has to be definitely looked at. And then you can look at a new centre-back, a new midfield. You can possibly look at the right-back situation, but I think with the way that Wan-Bissaka's kind of resurrected himself very much so this season, I think maybe not as big of a deal as maybe what it was a year ago. it's going to be very interesting. There's still a lot up in the air about Manchester United. Obviously, the Mason Mount deal, I don't know. I don't know if that is a clear indication of anything to do with that Man United takeover. I mean, it is going to be very intriguing to find out what obviously the future holds for Manchester United going forward. Like I say, I don't think you can judge United yet on next season without looking at what they're going to be doing in the summer, because a lot of teams are going to be rebuilding. A lot of teams are going to be strengthening. Where does United fall in that limbo? Obviously, I think a lot depends on that takeover. Tottenham should sign Ronaldo if Kane leaves. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see Ronaldo in a Tottenham shirt, whether he can actually drive that winning mentality into this Spurs side. But I don't think Daniel Levy would do that unless obviously Ronaldo is willing to take a huge pay cut. But yeah, very interesting comment to say the least. Yes, as a United fan, I prefer Qatar because I think we will get a structure like Man City, and it will boost us on every level. Yeah. I mean, you're seeing what Newcastle are doing right now as a prime example. You've obviously seen City grow year after year since their takeover about 15 years ago. You're seeing the kind of development that obviously Newcastle are putting in place, and Newcastle have barely scratched the surface yet. So it's going to be very intriguing to see what happens there. But main point of this video, Alexis Mac Allister to Liverpool seems to be a done deal. It seems to be done and dusted, pending a medical and pending, obviously, official confirmation by the club. I, for one, am very intrigued and very excited by this news. I hope a lot of Liverpool fans are as well. I'm very interested to know the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, on this particular story. Very, very intrigued by all of this. Very intrigued by the way that he's going to fit in to this squad, to this side. And going forward, I can't wait for Liverpool's business, because if they're getting this out of the way and done with very early, it does leave a lot to the imagination of what possibly could happen going forward. United spend a lot of money every window, and right now they are linked with Neymar. I don't know why. Because you can spend a lot of money, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're spending it in the right areas. United have spent a lot of money over the past decade, but a lot of that money has been on marquee signings that are big names, but maybe not the types of players, the kinds of players that United have needed. So they have spent a lot of money, and you are right, but maybe it's not money well spent. Take Brighton again as the prime example. They don't spend a lot, but they spend it in the right areas, and they make players better. And that is why they're able to sell so many players for so much money. You look at the past few years, selling Ben White to Arsenal for 50 million. Last summer, selling Mark Cucurella to Chelsea for something between 50 and 60 million, was it? Something along those lines. Basuma for 25 million. So much money that has been spent at Manchester United that they probably haven't got back. Whereas in comparison to Brighton, spending very little and then getting a lot. It's all about spending money in the right areas on the right players. And United's transfers in recent years obviously hasn't necessarily reflected that. It's been more miss than a hit, shall we say. I could see a possible sale for Liverpool because I don't see FSG competing with other owners in coming years. Yeah, I mean, there was that whole thing earlier on this year about Liverpool's owners looking to sell, looking to just test the waters, shall we say, of a club sale. That died down pretty quickly, didn't it? Yeah, especially if more and more state owners and more money comes into other clubs, Liverpool are going to get left behind. And as much as I want to say that Liverpool will keep punching above their weight, shall we say, in terms of that maybe aspect, in terms of the restrictions that our owners put on us, you know, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because eventually Newcastle will maybe overtake us. Other owners with other states may overtake us eventually. Other places, other teams may overtake us with what FSG are doing. And FSG, I've constantly said this, it's not as if we don't spend money, but again, we need to spend more, and we have the capability and we have the resources available to us to spend more, but our owners don't do that because they have a particular business model that they follow. They have a particular structure that they follow, and it works for them. I'm not happy about it because I think that we can do more, but it is what it is, essentially. Unfortunately for us, Liverpool's owners can do more. They can pull their finger out a bit more. They can push the boat out a bit more, but it's the way that they do things, and it's just the way that it is. It also feels like Ten Hag is the first manager to have a grip and a say in the club since Fergie. He is really assuring our CEO and directors. Well, he's put a bit of structure and a bit of discipline into that team, and I don't think they had that under Solskjaer, who was mainly working with positive vibes, and that can only get you so far. Whether that continues or not going forward is going to be very interesting. Like I said, I think a lot of United's future becomes much more clearer once you obviously get this takeover thing sorted and you work out who is going to be taking over, who is going to be making the decisions, who's going to be in power. Does that guy have a direction in which he wants the club to go? So it's going to be very interesting to obviously see United going forward, as Liverpool as well. But why United fans blame owners for recruitment? It's not their job. They just get the money. Well, yes, it is, but it's also their job to obviously put the people in place, the right people in place, to carry out the correct job. If you're pumping money into a club, but it's not coming back to you, or it's not being money well spent, you've got to look at, well, who's responsible for that? Who is responsible for making them decisions and for me wasting my money on these decisions? So I get it, but at the same time, it all stems from the people at the top. No matter what club you look at, whether you look at Tottenham, whether you look at Man United, Liverpool, it doesn't matter. It all stems from the people at the top. Solskjaer was a yes man. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. It was funny from the outside looking in, especially from a rival point of view while it lasted. But yes, he was. As a United fan, I love Liverpool's structure and Jurgen. I, as a fan, hope that Liverpool will challenge City next season and win the Prem. I only see Liverpool beating City. I think you're right. I think despite the fact that Liverpool came fifth this season, I think Liverpool, if they get their transfer business right, can instantly go back to challenging City again because of the manager that they have, the structure that they have, the world-class players that they have within their ranks. It's going to be, but of course, then you have to look at everybody else. Arsenal are going to be strengthening this season. Does that mean that they're going to have maybe more of a mental edge this season to maybe go that step further? United, like I say, it's a bit of an unknown right now what they're going to be doing, but are they going to strengthen? Newcastle, I know they're going to have Champions League football to contend with next season. That's going to be interesting to see how they bolster their squad to obviously deal with 2 games a week. Chelsea are going to be back because they're going to throw a lot more money at their issues. Tottenham's a mystery. As much as obviously it might be bannerous to say Tottenham are a bit of a mystery with if they keep Harry Kane. I mean, you saw this season, they got to 8th with Harry Kane's 31 goals. He was carrying them on his back this season. Maybe with a bit more structure in place, maybe with a bit more work there, maybe they can get back into the top 4. It's going to be a very interesting season, a very hugely competitive season, I'm predicting, for the next campaign. Mark my words, Arsenal will not come near top 4 next season. maybe with the Champions League, that could possibly happen. Maybe the mental side of Arsenal, in terms of obviously leading for so long this season and then falling away towards the end, might come back to haunt them. That could either make them stronger, it could make them weaker. That's going to be very intriguing to find out from an Arsenal point of view. They have weak players and too much of an emotional coach. Again, he's a young manager who's still working his way into the game. Like I say, it could work. It's either going to work that it's going to be something of an incentive to really build upon for the next campaign, or it could actually crumble and it could hurt them, and it could be something that they don't necessarily recover from. Either way, Arsenal are heading in a good direction as of right now. The trajectory is that they're going to be on the up. Whether or not Champions League football plays its part and whether or not that can harm Arsenal or help Arsenal remains to be seen. Top 4 predictions for next season. Not going to happen right now, bro, I'm afraid. Not going to happen right now. Obviously, there's a lot of this summer to be played out. There's a lot of transfers to be made. If obviously the window was to shut today and the season was to begin tomorrow, I'd say that, I'd say that maybe Liverpool get into the top 4, and maybe Newcastle are the ones to drop out, and maybe it's going to be a battle between Arsenal and Chelsea, maybe, depending on obviously what happens. But I don't know. Obviously my top 4 predictions will be made nearer the time of the season. Yeah. Alexis Mac Allister to Liverpool then. We've touched on a lot of subjects in this video, but the main one, Alexis Mac Allister to Liverpool. Very excited, very intrigued. All but done. Obviously, like I say, we're awaiting medical and then official confirmation, tying up all the loose ends, all that good stuff. Yeah, I'm very excited by this, and I think that this guy is going to work very well in this Jurgen Klopp system. I think he's the kind of player that Jurgen Klopp looks for, the kind of mold and the kind of build, and obviously the kind of traits and attributes and ability and quality that he brings to a squad as well. Very intrigued by this. Very, very much intrigued by Alexis Mac Allister joining us next season. But of course, as I always say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know. I made this first time on this channel, and I like your views. I will sub. Thank you for the sub, man. Thank you for the sub. Very much appreciated, and it's been good to interact with you. You've put in some very interesting thoughts in the comments, which I always like. And like I say, I like how this obviously video was solely based on one particular subject, but we touched on a lot of different subjects. So I appreciate that, and I really like that. So love from Denmark, my guy, love it. If you remove Salah from Liverpool would not even be top 7. They are too dependent on him. Do you think Gakpo, Nunes, Carvalho, etc. all underperformed and will never fully replace Mane and Firmino? Gakpo replacing Firmino, he looks to have a bit more about him than what Firmino does. I love Firmino, by the way. Like, Firmino was one of my best players for the past several years, and I absolutely loved Firmino and everything that he brought to Liverpool on and off the pitch. But Gakpo seems to have a bit more strength, a bit more of a killer instinct up front, a bit more pace as well about him. I think Nunes has had a difficult first season to settle into, but I am confident that going forward, he can find a place in this Liverpool side. Needs to work on his first touch. And that's all I'll say on Nunes. He needs to work on his first touch. And I would be on that training pitch all summer working on that first touch, because he definitely needs to. As far as what Liverpool are dependent on Salah, Maybe a little bit, because I think beyond Salah, if Salah was to get injured, that right wing position does drop a little bit. You can obviously fill that gap with like a Luis Diaz on that right hand side or Diego Jota on that right hand side, but they're not the most natural right wingers. So I do agree with you in that aspect that we are a little bit over reliant and dependent on him in terms of him being there week in, week out. But Liverpool would then put the wheels in motion to obviously go out and search for a replacement for him. So I don't necessarily agree with you in terms of that aspect, but obviously it is an interesting thought to maybe dive into. Do you often do live streams? It's something that I'm trying to do more and more to try and grow the channel and do things like that. So it's something that I'm trying to do more and more of, and especially with now the season done and we're entering the transfer window, that this could obviously be more and more. Like I say, I don't want to do the kind of solely one club based sort of channel. I like to talk all the Premier League and try and talk about Champions League and a bit more of the clubs or top clubs from around Europe as well. So that's kind of what I try and do here. Mainly focus on the Premier League, but try and obviously talk about some of the more intriguing topics from around Europe. So that's obviously the kind of plan going forward in regards to the channel. But I do appreciate the comments, guys, and I do appreciate the kind of avenues we've gone down to talk about in this video. I've got to run, though. I've got to run. So I do appreciate it all. And my guy, I do appreciate it all. I do appreciate your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings. Do keep them coming. Would love to would love to talk more football, obviously, and obviously that will happen with more live streams and more videos that are coming out on the channel across the summer. So do stick around for that if you want. More thoughts, more comments, opinions, predictions, feelings. Hey, Jordan. Nice to meet you, bro. I lost where I was. Yeah. Keep them coming. I would love to know your thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, everything along those lines for this topic on Alexis Mac Allister going to Liverpool. Seems to be a pretty much done and dusted sort of deal, pending a medical, pending official confirmation, and all of that good stuff. Yeah, see, Jordan is very happy. Liverpool fan for life. Very, very good, sir. Yeah, I am too, bro. I am too. I'm very, very interested and excited to see what the future holds for Alexis Mac Allister, and especially when it comes to Liverpool as well. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you for all the likes, the subscribes, whatever it may be that you've done on this video. The interactions have been great. Really enjoyed this stream. Thank you all once again. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch live stream, I guess you'd say. Random. Don't get it. Thank you very much. Have a good day, everyone. I'll see and speak to you all again soon in another video.